And yeah, I will try to restrict my presentation to, let's say, 40 minutes maximum, something like that. And you will be introducing me, good?
Ejne, jeg tænkte på, hvis du har sådan et stik, som du kan stikke ind i mikrofonstikket, så vil det jo slå lyden fra hurtigere, end hvis du bruger knappen oppe på selve skærmen. Så selvom din mikrofon ikke duer i telefonen, så kan du bruge stikket til at slå lyden hurtigt fra og til på mikrofonen. Nej? Okay. Det er i orden. Sorry, Taro.
No problem.
I tried to give a good idea how to avoid this problem with the microphone, with the lack of the headset. It's the headset. You know, if you could put the microphone into this well, okay, you will manage. I hope.
Hello, Sara. There's someone I recognize by the name. Welcome. And another Finnish name as well. There are at least 2 Finns, I think.
And some members also from the Faroe Islands, I can see, and Denmark. Welcome all.
I understood that there are some people who have registered beforehand. From which countries are they? Do you have some information already?
Yes, they're from all the Nordic countries, from Sweden and Finland and Norway and Iceland. So we should have a very varied audience today.
That's very nice.
Welcome. Karin, I can see our colleague, and Róbjartur, welcome.
Do you usually have your webinars in Skandinaviska, or is it always English that you're using?
We use English.
Good.
Hello, this is Róbjart. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. So I'm relieved to hear that it's not only because of my poor Skandinaviska that we're using English as a working language today.
No, not at all. So, Sigrún. Ef að chatið er svona fyrir neðan, þá sjáum við svo lítið af því. Og þá er svo erfitt að þá er fylgjast með því. Er ekki saman þó ég breyti því?
Já, hún bað að breyta því, hún vildi hafa myndirna stærri.
Það er bara ekki hægt, hún verður ekkert stærri svona. Hún, sko,
Ok.
Það stækkar ekki.
Þá...
Ok. You see, the size hasn't changed, but we can see more of the chat.
Mm-hmm. 1 minute to go. It is 1 minute to 2 in Finland at the moment, but various times in various countries.
I think it's time to start now. It has gone past 12 now, I think. Firstly, I must apologize because I do not have a headset, so hopefully the sound is not too bad, there's not too much echo. My name is Aina Knudsen. I am a member of the NVL Distance Network, and we are pleased to see so many of you this afternoon. Today's theme in this second webinar arranged by TVL, Distance Network and Nordinfo is how online studies can provide a flexible arena for dropouts. The presenter is Taru Kekkonen, sorry. Thank you very much, Taru, for making this presentation for us this afternoon. Tara works at the Ottawa Folk High School and has been doing so since 1997 and has been in charge of the online upper secondary school online studies since 1998. And Tara coordinates all the online studies and also the phenomenon-based learning at Ottawa Folk High School. Before we start, if you have any questions, you are more than welcome to type them in the chat, and we will address them, or Tara will, after she has made her presentation, and I'll try to sort the questions as we go along and maybe remember them after. So Tara, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be with you today. I hope you can all hear me well. I was kindly invited by Aina and her colleagues to join this webinar today to tell you about how we have arranged online studies in Ottawa Folk High School in Finland. So my name is Taru Kekkonen and I work for Ottawa Folk High School. At the moment I'm sitting in my study, in my office in Ottawa, which is a small village close to a small town called Mikkeli in eastern Finland. It's about 250 kilometers from Helsinki, to the northeast from Helsinki. And the school I work for, Ottawa Folk High School, Folkhögskola, was established already in 1892. And in the picture here you can see our main building that was built in the beginning of, I think it was completed, the building 1901. So it's an old building as well. And also our online studies, I would say that we have a long tradition with them because it's already 15 or 16 years old. Well, it's not as old as the building or the school, but when you think about how life was in 1996, I don't know how it was in your countries, but not in Finland. Every home had an internet connection. Not everybody had heard of what internet is. It was quite a new thing. But already then in 1996 or beginning of 1997, we established upper secondary school for adults, totally online. We actually, a few years later, we also established a comprehensive school for adults online as well. With comprehensive school, I mean grundskola på svenska, and upper secondary school is what they call gymnasium på svenska. But they both are for adults, so our students are mainly over 18 years old. When we started to plan this upper secondary school for adults online, we started with two main principles, which are not maybe very common in traditional schools in Finland. We started with openness and trust. And with openness, I mean that we decided that our school will always be open. It is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 12 months a year. So our academic year is a whole calendar year. And the school is open round the clock and round the world as well. So it's not only local students that we offer our services, but our students are all scattered around the world and actually around the country and around the world as well. But they all are Finns, or at least they are studying in Finnish language in the Finnish school system. We also decided that we wanted to have all our learning material open and public for everyone, not only our students. So all the material has been available, and so that anybody has been able to use it as they wish. From the very beginning, it has been so. And then we have all our courses. Now I'm talking about mainly about this upper secondary school, gymnasium. They are all available non-stop, which means that our students, they can apply for the school and they can enroll and they can start their studies at any time of the year. And also they can proceed in their own phase or rhythm as they have planned that in their personal learning plans. So they can pick up any course at any time because they are available there all the time. And then I said that we wanted to build the school also on trust. With that I mean that we decided that we wanted to trust our students, and we didn't want to put our effort and our money and time and energy on building a control system, a police force, a customs control in the school. So we decided that we were thinking, is it necessary to have exams in the school? And so far, during these 15 years, we haven't really found a reason why to have exams or tests in upper secondary school. There will be the national test after the studies. They complete their studies with a national test, what we call the matriculation examination. But that's the national test, and otherwise we don't have tests in our school. So we trust that our students are studying for themselves and learning for themselves. And so far the students, they have been worth this trust. So we have had no major problems with that. Then we also wanted to trust our students so much that we gave them a freedom to choose their own learning material. So we have our own learning platform online, and there's a lot of material there, but we don't use much books, and we have given the students the freedom really to choose if they want to, when they start a course, if they want to, they can choose what they use as their sources. So they can choose to go to the library or to the bookstore, or they can surf the net, or make use of the material, the learning material that we have produced in the learning environment or platform, but they can choose. And I will tell you something about our students, so maybe that gives you best the idea what kind of a school we are. Our students, as I said, they are all Finns, or at least they are studying in Finnish language in Finnish school system, but they are scattered around Finland and around the world, because it's very nice that the internet, it doesn't notice the borders of the countries, so you can study anywhere when you're studying online. Our school is for adults, so they are over 18, but we do have some exceptions. We have some minors, for example 16-year-olds who live abroad with their parents, and that kind of exceptions, but not many. So they're mainly over 18, but then the age scale is from 16 to 75 at the moment, I think. Students of all ages and in very various situations in their lives. In 1997, January 1997, we started with 13 students at the upper secondary school online. And today, I just checked this morning, the number was today 538 students, and the number has been growing all the time during this year. So it has been quite, or it has become quite a popular way to study. All our students, they have a special reason why they have chosen our school and this way of studying. So no one comes automatically somehow to our school, but they have found us there and they have a reason why they have chosen us. And here I will present you some of the reasons. So some of the reasons, they are work related. For example, there are people who are working in shifts. So if you're working in, for example, 3 shifts, then it is very difficult for them to find time for any kind of contact teaching, even if it was arranged in the evenings, because they might be having a work shift exactly at that time. And most of our students are working either full-time or part-time. Then we have students who are running their own company, and it could be that their companies keep them busy, for example, during the winter months, but in the summertime they would have more time for studying. So that is possible in our school. So it means that they can, for example, if it's good for the company, they can work more during the winter months and study more in the summer months, for example, like this. Then we have some professional athletes. It's mainly young men playing football or ice hockey, and sports is their work, their job, and it is quite challenging or complicating to combine any professional sports with studying. But in our system, it has challenges, yes, but some people have proved that it is possible. Then we have quite a lot of students who are traveling a lot. Either they travel for business or then they travel for pleasure. but that is either no problem because they can take the school along with their laptops or their mobile devices. So the school is traveling along with them. And also quite many students, we are asking all the newcomers, all our new students why they have chosen us. So quite many are also telling us that their hobbies are so important to them that they want to use the possibility that we have, that they can adapt their school to their rhythm of life and not the vice versa, as it usually is at school. Then we have people living in remote places. As you know, Finland is a large country, and especially the northern and eastern parts of Finland are quite empty. And people might have long distances to schools, to school buildings, but now, in our case, the people, they don't have to leave their homes or their hometowns or villages, but they can study from wherever they happen to live. Then there are a lot of students living abroad. There are, as I mentioned to you earlier, there are these kids who are living abroad with their parents. Finnish families, the mother or the father working for some company, it could be for a certain period of time, like 3 years living abroad or something, and the whole family moves abroad, and the children, they can continue in the Finnish school system if they are studying with us. But then we have a lot of adults also living abroad and studying with us. For example, I could tell you one story about one elderly lady who is contacting me and asking me more information about online upper secondary school, and she told me that she was living in China at the moment, and her husband was working there, and the husband was working long days there for a company. And she said that she was so tired of playing golf all days long that she needed something else to do. She wanted to do something with her brain, so she started to study with us. And also there are people who have been living long, it could be for decades, somewhere abroad. For example, there was another student who had been living in Italy for, I think it was more than 30 years, and she said that she wanted to study in Finnish language because she wanted to maintain her language skills in the mother tongue. So various reasons why people have chosen us. There are full-time mothers. It could be fathers as well, but it is mainly mothers staying at home with their children, with their small children, and they are studying while the children are asleep. I don't understand really, I have to say, how they do that. My children never slept, so it would have been impossible for me to study when they were small, but some people have been able to arrange that they stay awake at nights and study then. And then there are quite a lot of people with some health issues. They could have mental problems, or they could have physical challenges. We have had people sitting in wheelchairs, and so it would be impossible, or at least very difficult, for them to move from home to a school building. But in this case, they don't have to leave their homes, but they can study from there. And we have quite many students who have told us that they have a panic disorder, and it would be impossible for them to enter a classroom and meet other students and teachers face to face. They couldn't even imagine that situation, but when studying there online and talking to their fellow students online, and chatting with them and taking part in discussion forums, and so they can be very social there. So you could never imagine that these people are having difficulties when in the social not social life, but in their when meeting other people face to face. And then there are also quite a lot of students who have a negative school history. It could have something to do with bullying, for example, when they were young and at school, and they were bullied there, and they were shy and uncertain and thought that they will never enter a school again. But then after years and years, they have found our way of studying and realize that it suits them, and gradually their experiences at school have changed in this way when studying online. And a negative school history could be also so that the school was, people are telling that the traditional school was either too quick for them, so they didn't have enough time for learning. They were slow learners, but they didn't manage in the school. Or then there are also people who are telling that the traditional school was too slow for them, so they lost patience because it didn't offer enough challenges for them, the school. They wanted to proceed quicker, but it was not possible in the earlier school. So there are a lot of students who have quit the upper secondary school earlier, and then they are now continuing their studies with us. These are just some examples to give you an idea what kind of students we have. Then I have, this is a picture from a newspaper. It is already almost 1.5 years old, but the information is still quite current, as it is an interview of one of our students. She graduated from us, got the school leaving diploma, and also the white cap, as you can see in the picture, that her little daughter is holding. That's a symbol of, in Finland, all the students who complete the upper secondary school and take the matriculation examination, then they get this white cap. But I wanted to show you this interview, even if it's in Finnish. I'm sorry about the language, but she's telling there quite, I think, important, or pointing out quite important facts about online studies. Her story was so that she started in a traditional normal upper secondary school classroom teaching, but then when she was, I think she must have been 16 or 17 then, but then she was not so sure what she wanted from life and if that was her place to stay. So she quit the upper secondary school and went to a vocational school, got a vocation there in 3 or 4 years, and she also got a job and so, but then all the time she had in mind this, that I then once quit this upper secondary school, maybe I should go again and try again and to see if I can complete it. So, and in the meanwhile she turned 18 and 19 and 20 I think as well, and after that she came to us and continued her upper secondary school studies with us, and she said that she liked most the possibility to spend as much time as she needed on something. So if something was difficult for her, then she could spend as much time as she needed on that special thing and dwell on it until she was able to learn it and understand it. And like she said there, that she didn't have to adapt herself to the rhythm or face of the teacher. And I think that is quite an important point that she said there. She didn't have to adapt herself to the face of the teacher. And she also says in the interview that the learning log or learning journal, however you want to call it, that she was keeping and writing during her studies was very good for her. She says that with the help of the learning log, she became aware of her own learning process, and she became aware of her own strengths and weaknesses as well. And then she's also telling us there in the interview in the newspaper that it was very nice to have the freedom to choose when you wanted to study, but that it was also quite challenging and quite difficult to find enough self-discipline to start studying and open the learning environment or the books and continue studying, because there was no one telling her that now it's 8 o'clock and the school starts. So these are the ideas that she pointed out. So maybe that much about our students. You will be free to ask me more questions a bit later, but I thought that I would like to quickly introduce you our 3 ways of studying. So we have arranged the studies so that there are three possibilities for the students, how they can study the courses in online upper secondary school. I don't know if you all have already had lunch or if you are still hungry, but this might make you more hungry in any case, because I'm using a food metaphor here. So we are having according to this metaphor, we are having a buffet which is always open. So with a buffet I mean non-stop courses, that they are open and available anytime. They are independent and flexible, and they are available there always on the platform. So the students can pick any course at any time and start studying it in their own phase and their own schedule. But it means that they are studying quite independently. They are not studying in a group, because there are students coming and going all the time. Also the teacher, she or he is not able to teach a group, but individuals. There is some interaction in this kind of studying, but it's mainly between 2 people, the teacher, the subject teacher, and the student. They are using Skype and chat and email and so on for that, but it's mainly between 2 people. And it might be a bit lonely at the dinner table, because in the buffet you are studying alone. Only the teacher is there to help you, and the teachers are there on demand. So whenever the students have questions and they need help, they can contact the teacher and ask for help, but otherwise they are there quite alone. But this way of studying suits the lonely wolves, those who want to study on their own and quite independently and according to their own learning plan and their own schedule. And in this buffet table you can spend as much time as you want. So if you start one course today, you can continue in that course for 1 year if you want to, or then you can study it in 1 week. So they can choose. But then we also have, according to this metaphor, an a la carte restaurant, which means that you have to book your table in the a la carte restaurant, and you have to be there on the spot when the food is warm and the chef is there. So with these courses, or with this metaphor, I mean what we call collaboration courses. They have fixed dates when they start and fixed dates when they end. So one course could be available there, for example, 5 weeks. And if the student chooses to study, for example, a course in mathematics in a collaboration course, then he or she checks the platform, if it's available there, and during which weeks, and then she or he enrolls especially for that course. And then in that case the students knows that there are also other students studying the same course at the same time, which means that it is possible for them to study together, and they're using a lot of wikis and discussion forums and virtual conferencing. We're using this same virtual conferencing room that we're using right now, this Adobe Connect, with our students. And this way, but still, even if they are working and studying together, they are all studying online and from a distance. And quite seldom they are there simultaneously. I mean, in real life situations, we offer these meetings in the virtual conferencing room, but quite often, because they can be living, the students, in different time zones, and they are working and they have their families and their lives. So mainly they are working on the same course, but not exactly simultaneously. But for example, the discussion forums or wiki works fine, even if you're not there exactly at the same time. And this way of studying, I would say, suits for those who want to study together with other people, and who like the company of others, and like to and for whom it is important to belong to a group, and also it suits for those who need deadlines and schedules, because in this a la carte restaurant you have deadlines as well. And the teacher is more present during these courses there compared to the buffet table. And then we have a third way, or third possibility to study, which is that we take according to this metaphor, we take the students to the kitchen. So there are no ready and prepared meals prepared by the teachers, but we take the students to the kitchen and learn to cook together with them. So we're starting from the basics. And with this phenomenon, I mean real life phenomena, such as, for example, we have been studying phenomenon called welfare state with our students, or last autumn we were studying what happiness means, phenomenon called happiness, or now recently we were studying phenomenon called power. So that's kind of authentic phenomena, and instead of enrolling into a course of history or mathematics or English or physics or whatever, the students start studying this bigger entity, this bigger phenomenon. And while studying it, they learn the skills and the knowledge that is required in the mathematics course, or in the philosophy or in English or in history course, like said in the curriculum. So it's all about integrating subjects. That's briefly said, maybe so. And in this way of studying, we have given our students quite big and important role, so that the students become active players in this game, and we have given them the right and the freedom to choose their approaches, from what angle they want to approach these phenomena. This is a topic I could talk about for hours, but this time we don't have so much time for that, so that is briefly what this phenomenon-based learning is about. And this studying we have taken into an open and public online platform. The buffet and the a la carte restaurant, they are in our own platform, where the students need passwords and usernames to get in. But this phenomenon-based learning is everything that happens there. It's open and public. We have another platform for that, but unfortunately all the information and discussions there, they're in Finnish language. Okay, and what this all means, at least not so much the non-stop courses, but well, also them, but especially this well, all these three ways of studying that we have online, what it means for students. It is quite a big change of culture, because no one is really telling the students that now it's 8 o'clock and the school starts and you should now open your books and read this page and then do this assignments. But in all these three parts, they have to take a more active role, and they have to take responsibility of their own learning and of their own process. So it's very flexible way. There's a lot of freedom and a lot of flexibility, and that is why it suits most of our students, as I described to you earlier, what kind of students in what kind of situations in their lives there are. So I would say that it's all about the flexibility, why they have chosen us, and the opportunity to adapt the school to the rhythm of their own life and not vice versa. But then, of course, all this freedom brings along the responsibility, and not all the students, they're not ready to take the responsibility of their own learning. So it's a bit challenging, but it's a learning process of its own then. But this is also a change of culture for teachers, I would say. I would say that it is quite a lot about taking risks, because especially when you give the students as active roles as we have, and as much freedom as we have given them, especially in this phenomenon-based learning, then the teachers, they can't continue the teaching like they used to do for years or for decades, because well, everything changes when you give more freedom to the students. So the teachers have to be ready to tolerate uncertainty, and I would say to tolerate an incomplete world, and they have to be ready to change plans while on the road, while already moving, because you can't enter a classroom with a fixed plan that now we are doing this and this. If the students have chosen something else, then the plans are already old. So these were just a few aspects of our online studies and how we have arranged them. I was not talking all the time about dropouts, but I was talking about people for whom the traditional classroom teaching, for one reason or another, never really suited, and who, because of that, quit the school or quit the upper secondary school or never got to the upper secondary school. So this is mainly what I wanted to say, and now I'm available for questions and comments.
Can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you. I'll have to go back to the other mic. Sorry. Sorry about that. You can hear me still?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, you're fine.
Taru, I don't know if any of the participants wanted to ask you some questions. Well, I have a couple of questions. One is regarding dropouts. Do you have any statistics and evaluations by those students if this, for instance, helps them to obtain a formal degree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not able to give you any statistics now, but because I don't have the numbers here, but both in this online upper secondary school and this online comprehensive school, there are students who have dropped out the earlier schools and who have said us that it would have been impossible for them to continue in any other kind of school. So, and they have completed the school and got the school leaving diploma from our online schools.
There is a question for you on the chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you comment on how students support each other during the courses online? Yes, I can comment on that. It is great how they are doing. So there are quite many of those lonely wolves who want to study on their own and who don't want to mess up with others, but they're doing their own job. And we respect that as well. But we have this platform where most of the studies are carried out, where they need the username and password. And there's a lot of informal discussion also outside the courses, where the students are helping each other. So they are mainly using discussion forums there, the discussion forum group there, or they also have established their own Facebook group, which is a closed group. And as it was their own idea to establish the group and invite other students, their fellow students there, so we teachers wanted to stay out of that because it was their own idea and their own group. And but we have a couple of spies there, so we know what happens there. But they are mainly talking about their studies there in that Facebook group. So it's not about, well, of course they are talking about which movie they've seen last night and that kind of thing, but they are helping each other there a lot. So I think it's easier for them, even easier for them to ask help from other students sometimes than from the teachers. So they are supporting each other a lot. They are great on that.
Okay, thank you. I can see that there are a few questions more. There's one here on the buffet course. How are students coupled prepared for the communication?
On the buffet, how are students coupled paired for the communication? In the buffet, they are not working in pairs, but they are working independently. I mentioned there that there's interaction between two people, but it is between the teacher or the tutor and the student, not between the students. I hope I understood your question right.
I think so. And there's also another one here. If there is a difference between the three types of course modes regarding dropouts. That's Mariana Wien.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, there are more people who drop out not the whole school, but the course in the buffet, in these independent or non-stop courses. So there's a lot of people who register in, but then they, for one reason or other, they never finish the course. But if they, those people who register for these, what I call the a la carte, the collaboration courses, most of them, almost all of them, always finish the course. And those who start the phenomenon-based learning or studying, they get quite hooked on that. So the feedback from the students from that is that they are using a lot of time on that studying, and much more than in the traditional way. And some of them, they say that, okay, it was very interesting and very captivating, and I learned a lot. I might not have finished so many courses in various subjects that I planned, but it was very motivating and so. But for the next phenomenon, I won't join because I don't have the time. But then what happens is that when the next phenomenon, studying of the next phenomenon starts, they join. They come again and again and again, and they are telling us that they are quite hooked on that. But this is quite new. We have done that, well, it's already 4th year, that, or academic year, that we are carrying out this phenomenon-based learning, but still we are trying out new models how to carry it out. So that is something that we are studying ourselves as well.
Okay, I hope that answers this question. There's a question about assessment. How is that practiced?
Mm-hmm. In the buffet, in the non-stop courses, and in the a la carte restaurant, in the collaboration courses, the students are producing portfolios. So there's, as I told you, there are no tests or exams, but there are a lot of learning assignments that the students do, and then the subject teacher assesses the assignments. And then in the phenomenon-based learning, the students, there it is more possible to assess the whole process and not only something they have written. So the teachers are there following the process all the time, and then all the students, they are asked to produce something at the end of the period of the phenomenon that they are studying. They are asked to show how should I say, a final report. It doesn't have to be in a form of a report, but let's call it a final report, where they show, where they make their learning visible somehow. And then the subject teachers are assessing that. But at the end of each phenomenon period, we have get together with the students in a virtual conferencing room, where the students, each of them, they present their final reports and their final works, and also the other students give feedback on them. And in these cases, the teachers, they get a lot of basis for their assessment as well.
Okay, thank you. I can see that there are a couple of questions regarding teacher-student interaction. One specifically regarding the buffet course, how the interaction might be, and the other one is, what obligations do the teachers have in terms of being in touch with the students? I don't know if you...
This was this question. In buffet courses, there's a teacher-student interaction via Skype, etc.? How is that arranged? So the most common way to contact for the students to contact the teacher, and also the other way around, is to send email, either directly or then via the learning platform. And there, in emails, they can agree on a point of time when they Skype. For example, if it's a course in English and there's a learning assignment, for example, in Finnish upper secondary school, English course number 3 is about, the theme is about studying and working life, and one learning assignment is there for the students to compile a CV and job application, and then they are applying for the job, and the teacher, the English teacher, is playing the role of the employer, and they are having an interview, and they could carry this job interview, so-called job interview, in Skype, for example, like that.
And there's also a question here regarding results, might I say. Do you have a follow-up? What happens to the students after finishing their online studies? How can they validate their learning results from online studies?
That is a good question, and I'm sorry to say that we don't have a good follow-up system. It would be very interesting to know what happens to our students after finishing their studies, but we don't have a good system for that, so we sort of lose some of the students. So some of the students, they never want to leave the platforms, and they say that, can I keep my passwords, because I don't want to leave, but they won't stay there forever. Of course not. So so that is something that we know that we have to do better to arrange somehow the follow-up. And then I can see another.
Sorry, yes, there's another one about the finances. Very important.
Yeah. Both this upper secondary school and then this comprehensive school, they are funded by the state. So, for example, this upper secondary school is like any other upper secondary school in Finland, and we get a certain sum of money from the state per student, and so we don't differ from other upper secondary schools. So it is the same financing system as in all others, be it online or be it in classroom. There's no difference. And yes, it is free for the students.
Okay, any further? I can see a couple of people are, okay, yes, there are a couple of questions more here. How many students does one teach?
That's a good question as well, because in these collaboration courses, in this a la carte restaurant, there the groups could be, let's say, from 7 to 40. But if there are, let's say, over 40 people enrolling into one collaboration course, then we try to arrange so that we have 2 teachers there, so they can divide the work. But then this buffet, these non-stop courses, it is very difficult for us to tell the teacher beforehand how many students he or she will have during the year, for example, because there are new students coming in all the time, and we can't possibly know beforehand how many of them are going to take, for example, this mathematics course 1, and when they are doing that. So But we have managed so far, no bigger problems. And then we know that there is a rush hour with the teachers, or for the teachers, for example, before the matriculation examination or before the spring. When in traditional schools the spring term ends, or before Christmas, there are students who want to complete their studies and get the school leaving diploma, but they are still lacking some courses, and then they are quite quickly and in a hurry finishing the final and the last courses, so the teachers can prepare for being busy at certain times of the year. But otherwise it is difficult to plan the teacher's work.
Okay, I think lastly we have here an advice for you and others of us about following up through, for instance, Facebook. Are there any other questions, remarks? Okay, we'll just give it a couple of minutes more. Oh, that's one for you, Taru.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I must say, I absolutely agree.
Yeah. The follow-up on Facebook, I think it's a very nice idea. Of course, you can't reach all of the students there, the ex-students there, but most of them maybe. So, and I think Björn, who has written this, has good experiences in that, so it's a good idea. Thank you for that.
It would appear that we are, no, a couple of questions more.
And you have my contacts. And you have my contacts in the last slide there on the right side of the screen, so you can take my email or phone number from there, and I would be happy to get feedback or questions or comments also afterwards.
Yes, I would also say thank you very much, Taro. It's been very interesting. And the slides, details about the slides, can somebody else put a link where it will be available? It will be available online.
Yeah, okay, I can. Yeah, okay, I can. Can you switch off your? Aina, can you switch off your mic? Okay, thank you. So I can publish the slides in SlideShare, for example, and send you the link to Aina. If you can forward that, then is that fine?
The slides will be online also on NVL's home site and Distance, and as I put on the chat, the webinar was recorded and the link to the video will be sent out to all those who have registered. Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation.
Yes, I think that sums it up, and thank you very much, Tara. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
So thank you. Thanks a lot. So thank you. Thanks a lot for the arrangers of this webinar and to all participants, and thank you for your active comments and feedback. Hey, what is the theme of the next webinar, 13th of April? What's the topic? Does somebody remember? Would be nice to see.
The topic is connected to this one. It's about an online student who has conducted her or his or her studies online and used the flexible method. I'll send you the information. Thank you.
Very sorry about the sound problems here. I'll try and sort the headset for the next session.
It's okay. I think we managed rather well. The presentation was very loud and clear and fast.